We all want it, don't we? That deeper feeling of contentment, genuine happiness that doesn't just hinge on the next big thing.
Absolutely. But sometimes figuring out how feels, well, overwhelming, like another chore.
Exactly.
Mm.
So today, we're going to try and cut through some of that noise for you. We've been looking closely at the ideas of Rugiatu, specifically from her work, How to Live a Life of Contentment, Boost Your Happiness.
Hmm.
Our mission really is to pull out the insights that you can actually use,
Yeah.
things that might help you cultivate a more content life, like right now, wherever you're at.
Yeah, actionable stuff.
So let's just jump in with this big question. What if real happiness isn't about getting more, but maybe about seeing more in what you already have?
Well, that's the core of it, isn't it? This shift in perspective Ba talks about. Contentment isn't some finish line you cross after checking all the boxes.
Right.
It's more about how you experience the present. It's this understanding, that fulfillment, that feeling. It comes less from outside and much more from your internal state, your mindset, fundamentally.
Okay, mindset. Let's unpack that a bit. The source talks about abundance versus scarcity mindsets, like different glasses you wear to see the world.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. One lens, the abundance one, helps you spot opportunities, growth, even just the good little things in your day.
Well, the other one.
The scarcity lens, it tends to zoom in on what's missing, what's wrong.
And Ba suggests that consciously choosing the abundance lens, that focus, is really central to finding satisfaction day to day.
Precisely. And, if you think about it, choosing abundance, actively noticing the good stuff, even when things are tough, it makes contentment feel possible every day, not just sometimes.
So it's not about pretending problems don't exist.
Not at all. The source is clear on that. It's about balancing the difficulties with a real awareness of the good that's still there, the potential.
And this isn't just theory, right? There are actual practices mentioned. Things like gratitude journaling.
Yeah, deliberately thinking about positives, or mindfulness, just being present where you are, not lost in worry.
Even setting realistic expectations. They feel like small, doable things you could build into a routine.
Exactly. And the payoff, according to the text, is building resilience. So your happiness isn't quite so easily knocked around by, life's ups and downs.
That leads nicely into expectations, actually. The source really emphasizes the difference between what we want and what we expect.
Yeah, a crucial difference, because unmet expectations.
Well, that's a huge source of disappointment, isn't it?
Definitely. It hinders that feeling of contentment.
It's about recognizing life is, well, unpredictable. Sometimes things just don't go the way we planned or hoped.
It's like expecting sunshine every single day and then being crushed by a bit of rain.
Right. But the idea isn't to stop having goals or ambitions.
No.
No, it's more about managing those expectations, approaching things with a bit more flexibility, being okay if the outcome isn't exactly what you pictured.
And, kind of surprisingly, making that adjustment can actually make you appreciate the reality you do have more. Yeah, that's the interesting part. And also reframing those disappointments, not seeing them as failures or roadblocks,
is.
as just part of the journey. The source suggests this shift helps maintain inner peace. And sometimes it can even open up unexpected new doors, Don't let the missed shots define your whole game, basically.
Okay, so mindset, expectations. Now let's talk about self-love. This seems really foundational in the source material.
It really is. But it's important to get what Ba means by it. It's not arrogance or thinking you're perfect.
Right, not complacency either.
Exactly. It's more like a deep, steady acceptance of yourself, your inherent worth, separate from your achievements or, your flaws.
And connecting back to mindset, this self-love, this acceptance, it provides the solid ground you need for genuine growth.
Mm-hmm. The source contrasts this with desperate striving, that feeling like you constantly have to prove yourself because deep down you feel inadequate.
Okay.
But when you accept yourself, growth comes from a healthier place, a desire to flourish, not just fix something that's supposedly broken.
And again, there are practical ways to cultivate this. The text mentions things like gentle self-talk.
Yes, being kinder in your internal dialogue. Setting healthy boundaries, knowing when to say no, is huge.
Surrounding yourself with positive people, too.
Definitely. And forgiveness comes up strongly. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others, it lifts a huge weight.
That analogy of filling your own cup through self-care really lands, too. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
So true. Self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary to have the reserves to engage with life and others fully.
Now, thinking about that internal dialogue, the inner critic, Even a voice that seems positive can cause problems.
That's a fascinating point the source makes. Yeah,
Th-
even if it sounds like it's pushing you to be better, if it sets totally unrealistic standards, it just creates anxiety, constant pressure.
So it's not about silencing it completely,
No, it's about balance. You want an inner voice that inspires you, sure, but doesn't absolutely exhaust you or make you feel perpetually not good enough.
which requires becoming more aware of that voice in the first place, just noticing it without judgment.
Precisely. Mindful awareness of self-talk, as the text puts it. Observing those thoughts, like watching clouds drift by. This lets you spot the unhelpful patterns, challenge them, and steer that voice towards being genuinely supportive.
This seems to lead naturally into another idea which feels a bit countercultural maybe, the power of less.
Right. In a world shouting more, 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 more stuff, more followers, more commitments, Ba suggests that intentionally choosing less can actually create more space for contentment.
Like decluttering your life, not just your closet.
Exactly. Mentally, emotionally, too. Simplicity, the source argues, helps you see what truly matters. Deep relationships, meaningful work, inner calm.
By cutting out the noise, the unnecessary stuff, you make room for what actually feeds your soul.
And a big source of that noise, that excess, especially today, is social media.
Oh yeah?
The text is pretty direct about its potential downsides. Not saying it's all bad, but highlighting how easily it fuels comparison, feelings of inadequacy, distraction.
You're constantly seeing these perfect, curated snapshots. Highlight reels, like you said. It's not real life.
And that can seriously warp how you see your own life. So awareness is step one, recognizing when it's becoming toxic for you.
And then taking action. The source suggests things like consciously curating your feed, following uplifting accounts maybe.
Yeah, and setting limits, like intentional times for checking it, not just constant scrolling, maybe even taking breaks, digital detoxes.
The goal being to make technology work for your happiness, not against it.
Exactly. Which brings us to another point. Contentment isn't just about removing negatives, it's also about actively bringing in positives,
Yeah.
like novelty and growth.
So it's not about just being peaceful and static.
No, the source links happiness to new experiences, purpose, connection. Trying new things stimulates curiosity, builds resilience.
It reminds you that life changes, and you can change and learn too. Stepping outside the comfort zone, even a little bit.
And it doesn't have to be huge things. The text mentions simple stuff. Cook a new recipe, explore a local park you've never visited, learn a few words in a new language.
Little versures. They keep your mind fresh, build confidence, add some color to life.
And all these threads, mindset, self-love, managing expectations, simplicity, growth, they weave together into this final overarching idea.
The journey, not the destination.
Exactly. The source really drives this home. The true measure of a good life isn't just hitting goals, it's the richness of the present experience.
The quality of your relationships, your inner growth, kindness, just being present,
Yes, and part of that present experience, crucially, is rest.
which feels radical sometimes in our productivity-obsessed culture. Rest can feel like laziness.
But it's framed here as essential self-care. It's when you pause that creativity gets renewed, resilience strengthens, appreciation deepens. It's not empty time, it's restorative time.
And we can't forget fun, playfulness.
Absolutely vital. The source reminds us engaging in joyful stuff isn't just for kids. It busts stress, builds bonds, and just injects joy into ordinary life.
So when you pull it all together, what Rugiatu seems to be showing us is that contentment isn't just luck or circumstance.
No, it's a practice, something you cultivate daily through your mindset, through self-acceptance, through awareness of your inner and outer world.
And by embracing the whole journey, bumps and all, with curiosity.
It boils down to this. Happiness is less about chasing everything you don't have.
And more about appreciating everything you do have. And maybe most importantly, who you already are.
Well said. So perhaps a final thought for you, the listener, to take away. What's one small shift, one tiny practice from our discussion today? Maybe a moment of gratitude, setting one boundary, trying one small new thing that you could weave into your day, starting now.
Yeah, what might happen if you intentionally looked for abundance instead of lack? Or treated a moment of rest not as wasted time, but as truly radical self-care, something to think about on your own journey.